Nothing like starting in the middle of a video, but welcome to Wiki World. Here we go. First, what I did was I picked a beautiful branch off a Gingko tree. And by the time I got around to using it, the leaves were dry. So I took real careful note of how the leaves attached and tried to make a pleasing arrangement. Whoops, just broke another one. Pleasing arrangement of leaves similar to the way it was growing. So this one was actually going that way, and that way, and that way. So you get the picture. I don't know that I might be able to get some ink impressions off of it. So I started out with a piece of lino, and this is Jack Richardson's. Let me get that light a little bit better out of the way. Maybe that'll work. Jack Richardson's, I call it the gray stuff. It's Battleship Gray, which is what the traditional linoleum is, but this is a vinyl. It seems to be harder than the pink stuff, which is Speedy Carve. So I carved, what I did first was I printed the black and white, and I'll give you a print of that here in a little bit. Printed the black and white on my Xerox laser, and first thing I did was turned it upside down and tried the acetone, not acetone, the mineral spirits where you wet the back of it and heat it. Didn't work at all. The vinyl just wouldn't take it. So then I traced the outlines of the leaves and then turned it right side and actually that time I didn't retrace them, I burnished it like that. And the lino took the pencil lines really well. Went back with a Sharpie, just a regular point Sharpie, and colored the parts I wanted to keep. Julie Fayfan Balzer says to do that. For example, sometimes she'll just color the entire outline of everything she wants to take away. Because as you get into the middle of cutting it, you sometimes forget where you are. Now, I did 4 or 5 of the leaves, and then I did a test print. And the test print turned out pretty good. It's a little messier than what I think I'll want to keep, but I stopped with this one. And you can see right here, and I'm going to leave it because I think it's kind of funny, where I was going to do my initials, and of course they're backwards, and you can't read the R, so I may try to work on that a little bit. But these 3 leaves and this one still need to be carved. So someone asked me how I did it, and I thought, well, I'll just show you. So I have, this is a turntable. It's meant for small sculptures and things, and I had a Sculpey head that leaked all over it, made it rough, so I just covered it with the Glade, the seal stuff, the stretchy plastic seal. But I really like it because I can turn this and it makes it a whole lot easier, A, to keep my hands safe, and B, to get where I'm going. So here we go. I'm going to show you how I carved this. Now I'm carving away, what am I doing? I'm carving away the white, the parts that I want to print white. Everything that's black will be black. Then I got thinking maybe I better pay attention to where the light's coming and make some bigger white areas toward the light, and that would be here and here. I can always do that. So if I get all of the leaves to this point, then I can always go back in and add some highlights where the sun would be. I did cut this with regular scissors because the X-Acto blade I was using apparently wasn't heavy duty enough. And it was just taking forever. So here we go. I have already, the first thing I did was with the smallest blade. There it is. Smallest blade. It's the number 1. And this is just the Speedy Carve set. And it comes with 4 blades. And I haven't used that blade one yet. That might be interesting. Okay. First thing I did was carved around the entire outline. And I just turned and cut the entire outline. The next thing I did was started after I had the entire outline cut. I went in and got rid of all the background, and I did use, I've got a second handle here. I did use the, this is the number 5, which is the largest. It's more of a scoop. And I varied the direction of the lines. In some cases I actually went around the flower shape. I am working around the tripod legs. This is interesting. I actually went around the flower shapes to give me some variety in the background, should I choose to leave some of those marks. So let's get these little guys out of the way. Alright, here we go. This one has not been done, so I'm going to carve what is not black. Now, if you will hold your finger under the blade like so, not only will it keep your hand out of the way from getting stabbed, but it also gives you a pretty good angle on the direction the blade is going to cut in. Now, if that's not deep enough, just go back over it. Minimal pressure on this material. I really kind of like it. Again, I'm trying to turn the lino, turn the turntable instead of the handle, which is working pretty good here, even if I do have the added challenge of the tripod. There we go. And then peel the little stringies off. If you want to get real technical and have a real clean cut, like if you were doing a big lino project or print project, you can always come in here if one doesn't cut. And you can come in here with an X-Acto, where is it? And cut that little thing off. I've just been tearing mine off because I like an organic feel. Here we go. Am I still in? Okay. Now that'll create, that little ridge that's left will create these little outlines along the edge of that plant, which they really had. So here we go. We'll get the biggest pieces first. And I do want to start and stop like I did when I just scribbled in, when I finished with my outline on the rubbing. I just took that Sharpie and scribbled because I knew I didn't want it to be perfect. If you have one that's stubborn, you can turn it around and go back on it like that. But see how easy this turntable makes the process. As you can tell, I don't always have my finger there. And I'm holding it like a pencil. Sometimes I see myself holding it like this, but I think I have more control the other way. And get down on it a little bit. A little bit more pressure and control how it's going to go. Now this particular pattern ended up being mostly straight lines, which is really easy with a lino cutter. Watch that finger sneak back in there. Keep that finger back out of the way, Vicki. We don't want a trip to the emergency room. Which I don't know why I care, because back in the day of being a graphic designer, I'd wear an X-Acto knife behind my ear like a pencil. And if it fell and went through my jeans, oh well. I've had them stuck in my leg before. But I was young and tough then. I just love how easy that is to turn on this turntable. I'm glad I thought about that. I haven't felt any need to anchor this piece down. You could, I guess, if it was bothering you with the slip and slide. And on this big piece, I really have my hand on it. So that's keeping it from moving. A small piece you might want to anchor with some double stick tape or some of that non-skid shelf liner. That works great. I always try to have a piece of that in the studio. Of course, finding it when I want it is another challenge. It'd be easier to keep it in the kitchen, and then I'd always know where it was. But I'd have to walk all the way in there. Okay, y'all don't want to watch paint dry. So I'm going to turn this off right now, and we'll come back. I'll come back when I get ready to attack the sunlight problem. Actually, I just thought that I'd go ahead and record this. I can always cut it out and add music and fast forward. Some of you might like seeing the whole process. Now I'm going to look back at the pattern and see where I am. Because this stem is white right through there, which implies that it's going over. And this was the gnarly part. I've got it upside down. This was the gnarly part up here. You can kind of see how the camera angle might have gotten there. Maybe it was like this. Nope, probably like that. So anyway, that's my best approximation of that gnarly thing. We've got a piece coming through like that. Maybe a little bit deeper in the middle, like that. And a couple just little squiggledies. Technical term there. And we've got a piece coming off right here. And this just looks like a mouse chewed in it. So we'll just take a couple hunks out of that. Yeah, it looks pretty good for now. We have a line that goes straight through here. The way some of the leaves were completely split on the edges. They were like that even when they were new. And remember to stop before you think you're through, because you can't put more rubber back in there. You can touch it up after you print it, but you can always come back and trim. And you teach what you most need to learn, so stop anytime, Vicki. And like I said, I want to get all these leaves to the same level of carve. You run your thumb over it and feel the little the little hairy guys. And if you miss one, it'll show up in your print. And that's what these are right here. Doesn't take long to figure that out. And using the turntable the way I am, it sometimes works not to pick up the blade. Just turn the turntable once you get it going. There. That's all I want. I want it to look organic. Remember, organic is a good thing. Makes it look handmade. Not homemade, handmade. There's a difference. Homemade is where you're in sewing class in junior high school and your sleeve ends up going in with wrinkles around the top. That looks homemade. When you learn to do a basting thread and pull it correctly, that sleeve fits in there just like the curve wasn't even there and the extra fabric wasn't there, and voila, you've got handmade. Hello. Remember to get some short lines in there for variation. Just because you didn't color something black does not mean you have to carve it. Or you left something that wasn't black, in this case. Remember variety. Just some little marks. Okay. Voila. And we're done. See those? All that texture? Let me see if I can work on that R anymore, even though it's backwards. I may have cut too much off the surface of the R before I got this far, and if I did, there's not going to be any recovering it. But you never know. And the good news is, if I decide I don't want the V and R in there backwards, I can come back in and cut it completely out. Here's a trick I learned from Tina. Get that Tina Van Eck. Get your blade right where you want a circle, a little circle to be. Hold it straight up and down, and some pressure, turn your turntable, and when it comes all the way around, you will have a hole. Well, it's supposed to. It will dig out just a little hole, which might play and work well enough for the R. Let's see if we can dig out just a little bit more right there. There, see my R?